1997.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and President Trump was on with Maria Bartiromo on Sunday morning talking border security. You know, he issued new strictures on asylum applications yesterday, but it's clear that he is none too happy with the state of affairs, and he believes this is going to be a central issue for his reelection, and it is. And he believes that the other side, Democrats, are painting themselves into a bit of a corner by being for open borders.
So Beto O'Rourke wants to take down the walls. That means he's finished. I mean, he was finished 2 weeks ago when he started saying certain very stupid things. Beto O'Rourke has been exposed. I think Biden has been exposed. I don't know what the hell happened to Biden. I never saw that before. I don't know. It just doesn't look like the same Biden. I said, is that really Joe Biden? He doesn't look the same to me. I've known him for a long time. I've seen him for a long time. I said, what happened to him? So he's been exposed because he's very weak. He doesn't want to talk about this. No, but they don't want to talk about this. Yeah. I don't get what their plan is. Do they want to let people in that shouldn't be here? Because we have people that are trying to get in.
Biden looks like himself, but Trump sees someone else, only it ain't on the surface.
Could it be the Botox and the fillers?
You're missing my Flora Cash reference.
Oh,
Try to be current like I am. Try to listen to the music the kids listen to so you can make clever remarks about politics like I do.
Thanks. I'm on notice. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. He also said 400 miles of wall are going to be up by next year. New wall.
We're building a lot of wall. We're going to have 400 miles of wall up by the end of next year. So the wall is going to be, it's going to be great. It's going to be the top of the line, too. I got it done, the top of the line.
All right. For more on 2020 and other topics, we're pleased to be joined again by Thomas Lifson. He is the editor and publisher of The American Thinker, AmericanThinker.com. Thomas, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning. So, Biden is in full rally regalia yesterday in Pittsburgh, and the other side is proceeding in earnest. The House Democrats are continuing to look for angles into impeachment, and President Trump has returned his focus to matters like border security and touting the economy's performance in Q1. So how are you handicapping where things stand here as we're, only about 8 months from the first caucus?
Right, but 535 days from the election, which is, oh my God, that's a long time. I actually just posted about a half an hour ago a piece I wrote about Biden's campaign kickoff rally in Pittsburgh, and I thought it was very unimpressive. He actually slurred a few words, which is, he has problems with saying the wrong words. But slurring the right words is a new phenomenon, suggesting to me he might be a little tired already. And he's got a year and a half of this ahead of him. Honestly, I don't know of many things beyond, the Bataan Death March that are as difficult as presidential campaigning, where you get on a plane 3 times a day and, well, if you're Trump, you get on a plane 3 times a day and fly to 3 different rallies. Hillary Clinton did a much more relaxed pace, and Biden may end up doing that too. He's 77 now. He'll be 79 by the time Election Day comes. And although he looks good, and maybe he's had a little work done on his face, maybe it's makeup, but the guy looks really good for somebody his age. On the other hand, he was only able to draw a few hundred people. That contrasts with the big Green Bay rally Trump had on Saturday. And it also contrasts with Kamala Harris, who drew 20,000 for her campaign kickoff rally. Joe took a union hall in Pittsburgh where the union brought out their supporters in their firefighters' T-shirts. And, it was pretty ordinary for the first kickoff. Now, in point of fact, Biden's real kickoff was a Saturday night fundraiser at the Philadelphia home of a top Comcast executive, where he got bundled donations from Comcast and other big corporations. And I think that's kind of the secret to Biden. He's got a lot of institutional support from unions and from big corporations like Comcast, which is now virtually part of the Democratic Party. You know, they run not just cable systems, but all of the NBC channels, including MSNBC, which are very heavily pro-Democrat and anti-Trump. So he's got the institutional support, I think, because the big interests recognize what a disaster so many of the radical left candidates are. But you know, I don't detect any grassroots enthusiasm for Joe. He's kind of the candidate that they'll settle on, but who really is fired up by Joe Biden other than people who run unions and companies?
Yeah, I mean, he is the it girl this week, but how long do you think it's going to last? And also, I'm kind of already tired of all the, you know, I know that he allegedly groped not allegedly, 7 women have come forward saying that he touched them inappropriately, was in their personal space when he shouldn't have been. And then the Anita Hill hearings, I mean, how long is that are they going to bang that drum?
Sure. He's got a long political career, and the fact is that the current fashion in the Democratic Party, just in the last 8 years, has changed so radically from everything that came before it that his rivals are going to pick apart and criticize him for all sorts of things that he did, with great justification. He's not a very impressive man. That's why he failed twice running for president.
That's the dirty little secret. You know what? He's not particularly talented. He's not particularly interesting. He's not particularly compelling, which is why you get to plagiarize Neil Kinnock. Can't even use his own words.
Right.
And when he does, now he slurs them, as you were mentioning. Let me ask you this. Why do you think Mayor Pete is being buoyed by the D.C. press corps and not Kamala Harris? Is it just they're just giving Mayor Pete his turn right now and they're ultimately going to get to Kamala? Or is there some problem between the D.C. press corps and Kamala Harris? Because it would seem that she checks more boxes than he does.
Well, yes, she does, but she's not gay. And
I'm sure she's willing to consider it if that would help her get to the White House.
Oh well, definitely she'd say it if she had to. But you know, she's married to a nice Jewish lawyer in Los Angeles. So
yeah, Dan, don't try to break up their marriage.
Yeah, who doesn't want a nice Jewish lawyer?
But yeah, she'll say anything. I think for one thing, Pete is a lot more impressive than she is. He's a very smart guy. There's just no question about it, and he comes across on stage as genuine. I think the guy is a real talent. I don't necessarily trust him, and I certainly don't share a lot of his politics. Mm-hmm. But he's a smart guy, and it's infatuation at this point because they're so desperate for somebody who can be the next JFK. I mean, all the media, all the Democrats, not all of them, but the ones old enough, remember JFK as Camelot, and they really want to return to that. They want a articulate and cultured and educated, somebody that looks good. You know, they want all of that. And Pete Buttigieg is the closest they've come since since Bobby Kennedy was killed. So that's part of it. Also, Harris is not impressive, and she's got a lot to answer for too. First of all, she's not African American. Her claim to blackness is because her father comes from a well-to-do Jamaican family which owned slaves. As he's not that fond of her political ambitions, so he's another obstacle for her potentially as the candidacy progresses. But she's not that smart, and she's done whatever it took in the past, and that includes throwing drug dealers in jail when she worked in the Oakland DA's office. She found it advantageous to run as a law and order candidate for attorney general in California, so she's got those sins to answer for, sins in the eyes of the woke Democrats. So, yeah, she's multiracial, and, yeah, she's still somewhat good-looking, but there's no real there when it comes to Kamala Harris. At least that's my take on her. I've been watching her a long time, and I'm just unimpressed is the way I put it. She's better than, oh my God, Kirsten Gillibrand, who is an embarrassment.
Oh yeah, I forgot she's running. Yeah.
Well,
some of these names
she's not
are
making the
faded.
debate cutoff yet.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the look back that is apparently going to happen, courtesy of Attorney General Barr. The look back at 2016, how the Russian collusion investigation got started, and how the Hillary Clinton email investigation was handled. You suggest in a piece in the American Thinker that there's a real possibility that the walls are closing in on President Obama a little bit. Yep. What did you mean by that?
Well, ultimately, let's put it this way. At this point, we have a trail of breadcrumbs that lead to the Oval Office. What we don't have is sworn testimony, although we're beginning to get that. And what piqued me on Friday last week is Judicial Watch releasing sworn testimony it took in a deposition. And first of all, Barr, from everything I hear, and I hear some things from people who may know what they're talking about, Barr is, I am told, aggressively pursuing prosecutions. And it's going to be a matter of weeks before we start seeing the results of that. But, grand jury proceedings are secret, so we're not going to hear about these things until the indictments come, I suspect. And maybe more than 1 month's worth of weeks, but not months and months worth of weeks before we start seeing results. At least that's what I hear. I can be a little more patient than that, but in any event, I think that's coming. But what got my notice last week was Judicial Watch, which isn't bound by grand jury secrecy and which pursues Freedom of Information Act lawsuits to get various things exposed, took testimony, sworn testimony, from Bill Priestap, who has not been a name as familiar as Peter Strzok and Andrew McCabe, but who was the second in command in the counterintelligence division of the FBI, which is where Operation Crossfire Hurricane and where a lot of the mischief came from. Although the mischief actually predates that particular manifestation, organizational manifestation of the spying on political opponents of President Trump that was going on possibly as early as 2012. They were using database searches of the National Security Agency's comprehensive monitoring of electronic communication. This was created in the wake of 9/11 that basically sweeps up all electronic communications in the United States and maintains a database. So we know that searches were done of political opponents of the Obama administration because Admiral Rogers, when he was head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, told Trump about it. And right after that, Trump moved his campaign out of the Trump Tower. You may remember when Trump tweeted about wiretapping of his office.
Right.
That was what was going on. And Rogers this is all public information that Rogers told the Trump campaign that they were being spied on. And this use of what they're called 702 queries into the NSA database was very extensive. I mean, multiple of the times that previous people searched the NSA database for communications of targeted individuals, and these individuals were political opponents of Trump. And the person whose name is on the most of them is Samantha Power.
Right.
But anyways, that's a story that, again, the information is going to come out. We already know about it, through various methods, it is public, but we won't really know about it until the indictments. So that's part of the breadcrumbs. But Bill Priestnap swore under oath that the communications with Hillary's homebrew server, the unsecured server where she was communicating classified information, which is against the law, and which James Comey exonerated her for improperly. But that's another story. But anyways, we know that the Oval Office, meaning Obama and his first-tier aides, were communicating with Hillary on the unsecure server, which makes them criminal. This is handling classified data carelessly, without, that's against the law to communicate classified data on an unsecure email system.
We're going to have to leave it there. We're going to have to leave it there. I appreciate it. Thomas Lifson, editor and publisher of the American Thinker, AmericanThinker.com. Thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer.